So
Yeah.
what is the future of the Dead Sea Scrolls research and of these fishy fragments? What do you see going forward?
Well, first of all, I would say we have these tens of thousands of fragments, or even if we have joined them, the ones that were found in the 40s and 50s,
Hmm.
and we have major texts that are being studied by people for their dissertations or in further research. We have thousands of small fragments that gradually, one by one, people identify. They say, wait, this actually fits here in this manuscripts, and then we get that. It doesn't go fast, but there are 10 to 20 a year. And from that perspective, and these are all authentic, these are all accessible. These are, and from that perspective, these 60 fragments that have turned up, of which I would say perhaps 45 out of these 60 are not of any interest scholarly, these are academically not important. At the very best, and this would be important in principle, and the very best, they affect our statistics.
Okay.
For example, if finally you find a fragment of Nehemia, then if you never have had one, then it's important to know. But if you find a umpteenth fragment with 6 words from the book of Psalms, in a sense, I would say, who cares?
Okay.
From an academic point of view. Now, there are among those fishy fragments, there are a range that are also could affect scholarship and therefore are important. The one is certainly the Hargerisime fragment, because it would show that what scholars have thought actually is attested by a Judean fragments.
Hmm.
That would even mean that we have first century evidence of something that we think was already changed in an earlier time.
Hmm.
So still some manuscripts preserving Hargerisime instead of Mount Eval. Another case which would really be important for discussions that are going on is this large Jeremiah fragment, which goes along with the Septuagint
Mm.
text, but not entirely. Also sometimes has Septuagint readings and sometimes has MT readings, and this is important for the entire discussion about the relationship between these two versions and how they fit exactly. However, if this is a forgery, then we can just put it aside. So in
Okay.
this case, it will affect mainstream scholarship on Jeremiah.
So what you're saying is there are a number of fragments that are maybe the study from the natural sciences perspective is quite urgent.
Yeah,
Okay. So
yeah.
hopefully those will be
I would
studied
say
soon.
that at
And
the very least, we should uh, keep those aside and be aware, if we are working on those, that we cannot use them as solid evidence, as textual evidence, as witnesses from the 1st century BC until we have final knowledge about it.
okay, fair enough. Yeah. Wow. Any final words or thoughts?
Uh, on the one hand, I would just wish we could put these forgeries aside and just move on with scroll scholarship, which actually develops into many very interesting directions. And this issue is actually a financial issue. It's not an academic problem. It is not like, for example, the Gospel of Jesus' Wife, which would force scholars to think about forms of Christianity in the 2nd or 3rd century. Most of these fragments are only of interest for people who want to make money or people who want to collect, and not for academics. So for academics, I would say we have enough work to do with the material that we already have and know that is authentic.
Okay. With the exception of, like you said, maybe 25% that are important, like the Mount Gerizim and the Jeremiah, and there's a few others I think that really could change the picture of scholarship and in those specific areas.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's
Yeah.
a few, yes. These are the two I think of from the top of my head,
Okay.
and I think probably these would be from a biblical scholarship point of view, the two most urgent fragments to decide upon.